We're going to start with Bernadette, who's going to introduce Kieran.
Initially I said 2 lines, but I got carried away. It is with great pleasure and pride that I introduce to you my amazing, extraordinary and wonderful little baby brother, Kieran.
Yes, ma'am.
I remember how I couldn't wait until he was born. Our wee new addition to the McMullen household, and a boy, even better. I knew I was going to have great fun with him. I adored him. He was my wee playmate, and I was his bad influence big sister. Kieran was a really good wee fella, really good wee boy, not like me. I was the naughty one, teaching him how to do things Mum and Dad said he wasn't allowed to do, like playing down in the quarry and climbing trees in the orchard, which was great until one day he broke his arm. And I told him to stop crying and pretend it didn't happen, say nothing, or we would both be in big trouble. So, as usual, he did exactly what I said, listened to me, kept his mouth shut, and clutching his broken arm in agony. But of course, when we got home, Mum knew straight away. Kieran was rushed off to hospital, and I was rushed off to bed for a roasting. And he has never taken my advice since. And I don't blame him. And he advises my children not to take my advice either. Having said that, it's amazing that in light of that incident, that he has been so good to me throughout my life, and the one person I can always rely on. He is always there in a crisis, and I have a lot of those, so I keep him very busy. My 4 children adore and admire you, and love listening to the tales of your exciting life. Kieran, you have had a huge influence on me, my life, and my children's lives. You brought us all to the wonderful land of Australia and give us a new and better life. However, you did bugger off to America very quickly once you got us there. But it really should not have been a surprise to me. Kieran never stayed in the one place too long. In fact, he lived for years in a plane and out of a suitcase. You never knew where you were going to get a phone call from next. I remember one day sitting in Belfast with my babies, and he phoned out of the blue, as usual, and said, "Hey, what are you doing?" "I'm close, I was going to call." I said, "Great, where are you?" I thought he was down the town. He said, "I'm in New York, see you in a few hours." Popped in, had coffee, hugged the kids, and away went. And that was Kieran, and that was the way he was. Hilarious, passionate, generous, a talker, a thinker, a drinker, and a rover. A rover until now. Our Irish rover has finally found his one true love and soulmate in the beautiful Lisa. And I forgive him for buggering off to America because he found you. And we want to wish you luck. We never thought this day would come. We never thought you would hang up your horseshoes. We never thought you would settle down. And here you are. We're at your wedding. I love you. I wish you luck and happiness.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you very much, Bernadette. Charlotte, are you going to do the honours now? Great. This is for Lisa.
Even though I am Lisa's mom, everything I am about to say is from a totally objective point of view. It's difficult to express how blessed I feel to have a daughter like Lisa. When she was a baby, she was delightful. No colic, no illnesses to speak of, and she quickly adhered to a schedule. Whenever we left the house, all she needed was dry diapers, apple juice, and animal crackers to be happy. Very soon it was evident that my little girl was special. Her cute expressions, constant laughter, and zest for life made her the center of attention. She wanted to do all and be all, and she pretty much did. One day she was a beautiful little princess going to ballet class and playing with her dolls. And the next day she was in blue jeans, playing baseball, fishing, and riding her moped in uncharted territory. Much to my dismay, she'd arrive home with scraped up knees and elbows. Lisa is not only beautiful outside, but she is beautiful inside. She has a heart of gold. Her love of adventure, family, and friends is only surpassed by her love and respect for animals. She is always the one who rescues the strays. She even rescues insects that have ventured inside by carefully capturing and releasing them outside. Since I am a single mom, Lisa has always been there for me in times of need. We have an extremely close relationship. You can ask Karen. Since she left the nest for college, we have talked on the telephone almost every day, even if only for 2 to 3 minutes, to say, I'm okay and I love you. Lisa is my sunshine on a dreary day, my strength during the storm, and is and always will be my greatest achievement in life. Before I'm seated, I'd like to say one more thing. They say you have to kiss a lot of frogs before you find a prince. Well, I believe Lisa has found her prince in Karen. I couldn't ask for a better daughter and son-in-law. I love you both very much.
It's wonderful.
Now, in order to set the tone, well, it's already been set, I presume, but as a further way of sort of getting us into the spirit of this ceremony today, both Lisa and Kieran have each chosen a special reading to be read. So we're first going to hear Lisa's reading that she has chosen, and it's going to be read by Carol.
Well, on this joyous occasion, it really is an honor for me to have been asked to read this poem by Maya Angelou entitled, Touched by an Angel. We, unaccustomed to courage, exiles from delight, live coiled in shells of loneliness until love leaves its high holy temple and comes into our sight to liberate us into life. Love arrives, and in its train come ecstasies, old memories of pleasure, ancient histories of pain. Yet, if we are bold, love strikes away the chains of fear from our souls. We are weaned from our timidity. In the flush of love's light, we dare be brave. And suddenly, we see that love cost all we are and will ever be, yet it is only love which sets us free.
Thank you very much. Yes. So that was Lisa's choice of reading, and now we have Kieran's choice of reading, and Johnny's going to read that.
Thank you. May I also say I'm honoured to be given this opportunity. Thank you. So I'm reading, can everybody hear me? I'm reading a poem by Araya Mountain Dreamer called The Invitation. Slightly restructured. It doesn't interest me what you do for a living. I want to know what you ache for, and if you dare to dream of meeting your heart's longing. It doesn't interest me how old you are. I want to know if you will risk looking like a fool for love, for your dream, for the adventure of being alive. It doesn't interest me what planets are squaring your moon. I want to know if you have touched the center of your own sorrow, if you have been opened by life's betrayals or have become shriveled and closed from fear of future pain. It doesn't interest me if the story you are telling me is true. I want to know if you can be with joy, mine or your own, if you can dance with wildness and let ecstasy fill you to the tips of your fingers and toes, without cautioning us to be careful, to be realistic, to remember the limitations of being human. It doesn't interest me who you know or how you came to be here. I want to know if you still stand in the center of the fire with me and not shrink back. I want to know if you can live with failure, yours and mine, and still stand at the edge of the lake and shout to the silver of the full moon, yes, yes, yes.
And so this is the piece I wrote to her, and it's called The True Love, but it's written to you two now. And the woman in question said that it was the only love poem in history written to 142 women. The sisters and herself, yeah. So it's called The True Love. Oh, and there's an image here. I used to go up into the Western Isles of Scotland, into the Hebrides, to study marine zoology, and there was an old form of Christianity still alive there in the islands, where the people had prayers for every part of the day. They'd have a prayer for waking up in the morning, a prayer for walking out of the door. And there was an old fellow who used to come down to his fishing boat every morning. And before he touched an item of his gear, he'd always take his hat off and press it to his chest and say his prayers into the waters of the harbour. And I used to get up with my cup of tea just to watch him actually, and I used to ask myself, say to myself, I've no equivalent of that, but what would it be if I had, what commitment would I have to the greater picture? So the true love. There's a faith in loving fiercely the one who is rightfully yours. There's a faith in loving fiercely the one who is rightfully yours. Especially if you have waited years, and especially if you never believed you could deserve this loved and beckoning hand held out to you this way. There's a faith in loving fiercely the one who is rightfully yours. Especially if you have waited years, and especially if you never believed you could deserve this loved and beckoning hand held out to you this way. I'm thinking of faith now, and the testaments of loneliness, and what we feel we are worthy of in this world, what we feel we are worthy of in this world. Years ago in the Hebrides, I remember an old man who walked every day on the grey stones to the shore of baying seals, who would press his hat to his chest in the blustering salt wind and say his prayers to the turbulent Jesus in the water. And I think of the story of the storm and everyone waking and seeing the distant yet familiar figure far across the water calling to them, and how we're all waiting for that calling, and that moment we have to say yes, except it will not come so grandly, so biblically, but more subtly and intimately in the face of the one you know you have to love. So that when we finally step out of the boat towards them, we find everything holds us and everything sustains our courage. And if you wanted to drown, you could. If you wanted to drown, you could drown, but you don't. You don't, because finally, after all these years and all this struggle, you've simply had enough of drowning. And you want to live, and you want to love, and you will walk across any territory, however fluid and however dangerous, to take the one hand that now belongs in yours.